Morning guys, how are you? Yeah, so I thought I'd just do a quick check-in. Your head Fed person spoke a couple of days ago. I didn't respond straight away, but essentially quite a bizarre statement. The key part of the statement is these guys did a U-turn. I berated them for that. We said we'd call it. They wouldn't raise rates much at all before they would be forced to do a U-turn. They were talking all tough. That all happened pretty much as we had indicated it would. Ran out of road, quickly said, whoops, we're not doing rate turns anymore. Then this most recent statement came out. And essentially the key part of the statement was he went and gave forward guidance for the rest of 2019 on rates and said, in advance, we will do absolutely no further rate increases for the rest of the year. That's right, you heard me right. Jerome Powell, head of the Fed, after saying we've got a long way to go on rates still, and then saying, oh, we're almost there, to eventually saying, oh, we'll not do a hike this month, has now come out and said we will not do any rate hikes for the rest of 2019. This is after the S&P 500 snapback rally has got it close to previous highs. Close to previous highs. It's already rallied all the way back up. So these guys are behind the curve in every single way. We know that they watch the equity markets. We know that it's a no-pain economy. And a crash of 20% is most undesirable, even if it's at all-time highs and the economy's in the toilet. In other words, the stock market's performance has diverged entirely from the general economy performance, where in actual fact, on all measures, PE, PEG ratios, everything, they've barely ever been this expensive before. Growth is stalling. And these guys are at close to all-time highs. They've already had their snapback rally on his last U-turn. He comes out and he's now still further dovish and goes and plays another dovish card, saying, not only am I saying that we've stopped for now, we've stopped for the rest of 2019. So, this year, as far as I'm concerned, really only just begun. We just sort of cleared the muck out of our eyes, and we're part the way through March. You've got 2.5 months done, and basically till December of 2019, the end of December, he's committed already in a statement that he won't do any further rate rises. So this is further dovishness in an already snapback stock market. So of course the S&P rallies a little bit. Oh, that's great news, thanks for that commitment. Then eases a little bit and then doesn't know what to make of it. In other words, it's a double-pronged thing. Draghi was exceedingly grim. It seemed like the Fed just doesn't talk to Europe, the Fed chair. We know they're associated. We know they're little Bilderberg Mikeys and mates. But it seems like they forget to check in every now and then. Draghi gave the most dire and bearish negative risks all to the downside. We know the banks are all messed in the EU. That we are waiting for everything to unravel. The EU is trying to hide that from the headlines. The FT and all the Rothschild papers are not focusing on it at all because they're trying to bully Britain into a fake Brexit. But the truth is, the minute Brexit's out the way, recognize now, prediction coming up, all the absolute weaknesses of the EU banks are going to start coming back into focus in a much bigger way than it is being referenced now. Italy, Spain banks never got over the property boom of 2008. All of these banking financial institutions are in huge trouble. And the good ship EU is due to sink as the political experiment it was. We're ready to go for Mark II on the financial services side dip. And what do we have here? Suddenly it seems Powell realizes that the rest of the world is pretty darn sick, and the US isn't doing so great, that he now forward sells a no rate increase environment at all. for 9 months. Who knows what could go on during that period? No rate increase. I bet he'd be prepared to cut if we start to have dumps. So it actually was an unprecedented dovishness statement, which initially boost the stock market, but it might also leave the question, what do these guys know about what's coming down the pipe? Has he suddenly realized how wrecked everything is? Is there reason for real concern, having been behind the curve in every level, having been able to sit here as an armchair amateur economist of just picking up basic stats, saying you're not going to push this any further than you are, and being more accurate than his own statements? How now does he continue to pour petrol on the fire to reheat the economy? What does he know? Or is he just being foolhardy and still retrospectively behind the curve, reacting to keep steam in the stock market that's already snapped back to a massive degree in the meantime? I don't understand these guys. I don't think they know. Anybody who has confidence in the Fed as being great arbitrators of the economy and keeping things afloat, you've got to wonder. Anyway, just thought I'd give you my comment on that. All risks to the downside. I think that was the only honest thing we ever heard out of a central banker this month. All risks to the downside. Yields will drop on bonds. Bonds will go up in value. The fear currencies will do well. We're in a tenuous place. We'll see how the S&P continues to perform. We'll be watching. Could there be a second strike to the downside? I think all risks on most assets to the downside, including real estate. And the EU and the rest of the world are sick, and they know it, and they're starting to admit it, and now America is starting to admit it too. With that, I love you and leave you. Check in for our webinars if you want to learn how to trade this. Not only can you protect capital, you can actually benefit by shorting the markets in their appropriate places, but you need method, mindset and self-awareness. Go to our marketsniper.com and reg for our free webinar there. Bye for now, guys.